Are you looking for answers to the unknown? Welcome to Live with Medium Lisa Phoenix and step into the magical presence of the metaphysical realm. Lisa will share the wisdom and musings from her own experiences, have intriguing conversations with other mediums and healers, in addition to exploring a wide array of topics and teachings on intuitive and mediumship development. Lisa will be taking your calls and inviting your friends and loved ones in the spirit world to share their stories with us. Raise your awareness as you are reunited on the level of love, and let's go live with Medium Lisa Phoenix.
Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. It's a wonderful day in Southern California. Welcome to Live with Lisa Phoenix Radio. I'm Lisa Phoenix, your host, a medium and energy intuitive. My show is all about healing, mediumship, and energy management. And my special guest this morning is Tracy Dunblazer, spiritual empath and teacher. And we are celebrating today Tracy's launch of her new book, The Demon Slayer's Handbook. We are, the station is currently working on the call-in feature for the show. So for now, if you want to share some of your own challenges or ask questions about the book, and please go to my Facebook page, Lisa Phoenix Live, and post your questions, and we will do our best to address them while we're on the air. If you want further information about the Live with Lisa Phoenix radio show, please visit my page at the OMTimes radio site. My website is also getting an overhaul. We do have the new show info up soon. And if you want to find more about the show, just visit my site at lisaphoenix.net. That's LISAPHOENIX.net. And I would also love it if you would go to my website once again, lisaphoenix.net, and sign up for my Intuitive Insights newsletter, which will also add you to my mailing list. And please like me on Facebook. Now, let's talk about Tracy. Tracy Dunblazer, GCCCCDC, spiritual empath, shaman, educator, and spiritual counselor, is based in Los Angeles, California. Now, I can also say author. Yes. Tracy specializes in grief counseling, energy dynamics, intuitive counseling, shamanic healing, space clearings, past life regression, soul recovery, and transition strategy. In 2005, Tracy founded It's Time to offer resources, education, and strategies for other practitioners, as well as those just embarking on their spiritual path. Tracy's website is www.tracydunblazer.com. That's TRACEEDUNBLAZIER.com, which I suggest you visit to get a better picture of what this amazing woman is all about. Tracy, good morning and congratulations.
Good morning and afternoon for our people in the Midwest.
That's true. However, I'm sitting here with a cup of coffee in my hand, my first cup of the day. So
nice.
I'm still living in the morning hour. So Tracy, congratulations on your book.
Thank you so much, Lisa. It's been a long time coming, and I'm glad it's done. It's a relief more than anything, more than even a celebration. It's a relief.
Oh, I know, but just give it a minute. It actually launches. Does it launch tomorrow?
It launches tomorrow.
And
you can actually go today to Amazon and you can pre-order your Kindle, and you can actually order your paperback book today if you want on Amazon.
Right. Now, are there other places where you can buy it, or is it strictly on Amazon?
Well, it's distributed by Ingram Books, so any place you can go to your Barnes and Noble and order it. You can go to any of your local small bookstores, which I love it when people, you go to your local small bookstore, independent bookstore, and have them order it, because they can order it for you as well for the same price, and you can you have to wait a couple of days to receive it. But I love it when people support any way they can.
The local. And I agree. And that's actually one of the reasons I ask, because, everybody doesn't do Amazon,
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's actually worldwide right now as we speak. So,
that's so wonderful. Yes. Now, What and also I wasn't sure because I told everybody what your website is. Is there a website for the actual book, or is it on your website?
It's both.
Okay.
www.beaslayer.com.
Awesome. Okay.
It's for the book, and it links back to my site, or you can go to my site and look on the books page, and it'll link back to the Be a Slayer site.
Perfect.
They're interchangeable.
Perfect. Okay. Just wanted to make sure we had that clear. Now, let's talk a little bit about it. It is called the Demon Slayer's Handbook. Now, can you tell us all what exactly does that mean?
Well, so it actually is a series of books. So it's there are 2 books in the series. The first one, the Demon Slayer's Handbook, book 1 is a practical guide to mastering your inner world. And so what I wanted to do, Lisa, is I wanted to really talk about what demons are and what demon slaying is. There are a lot of people on the planet that actually have paranormal experiences with demonic energies, or ghosts, or, all the multi dimensions of spiritual experience that different people have, and that sometimes we perceive differently. So I address everything from the actual paranormal experience of what a demonic energy is, and I also break down and address all the other types of energies that they are, and give you a definition so you have a better understanding and idea. Even if you don't believe it, there are people that do, and the more you understand where somebody comes from, the more able you are to have compassion for them, which was the purpose of this series in the first place. But then I also deal with disease and mental illness from a spiritual perspective. I talk about addiction. I talk about our sexuality. I talk about a lot of different things that people just don't want to really talk about in a frank, direct fashion, without shame or without the illusion of victimization. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. So, and I know, I believe, I hope I get this right, the first chapter is titled Play on Your Field. What exactly does that mean?
Well, so play on your field means, I'll read you the first thing that you need to know to be a demon slayer is that don't go to them; they will always come to you. Basically, it's the idea that demons, if they're in your periphery, if they're in your energy, if you think about them, then you have a connection to them. So you don't have to call on them; they're already there, and all you have to do is to create a sacred space with yourself, for yourself. So that it doesn't create, so you disconnect from that energy. It's making people don't stoop to where people are at. Make them rise up to where you're at. For example, I was speaking with a friend of mine who got in an office spat the other day with one of her female colleagues, and the girl said something really nasty and petty. And so she turned on her heel and walked away. And as she walked away, she called her, the B word. And she's like, I stooped to her level. And I'm like, yes, you did. That's one of the things that when we come down to where somebody's at, it puts us in a position to then be in conflict with ourself ultimately.
Right.
And so that's what the first chapter is about. And I have, the book is organized. I tell the story, first of all, through the presence and presentation of 5 different spirit guides that I work with in my life, in this life. But I think they've all been with me for several lives.
Now, do you know who these spirit guides are? Like, in other words, could you share a little bit about each one of them with us, or?
I do. Each chapter begins with a parable, which is the story of the spirit guide. And for example, my first spirit guide, his name is Nguvu Jabari, which means the force of God in Swahili. And he is an African warrior. His time, it's very interesting. When I wanted to channel like the actual time that he lived, I literally see it really more before before we see humanity and how it's grown. Like I see it like several thousand years ago, but how I told the story was a more contemporary in the last 1,000 years.
Okay. Yes.
So that was an interesting thing in the writing of the parables, is that, most of it, the information, all of them who lived on the planet give me, tokens of their actual life experience and what happened and how they interacted. But then it's presented in a slightly ambiguous, parable style, where the reader is allowed to take that story and apply it to their own sense of history and knowledge, which was the point.
Gotcha. Now, and again, we're stepping away just for a second from the book, but I know so many people are fascinated by this topic now that's related to spirit guides. So just real quickly, I wanted to ask you, how did you meet your spirit guides?
In section 3 of the book.
Okay, good. We're still in the book. All right.
Well, I'll tell you, but that to me is such a valuable question that I wanted to include it in the book, because
perfect.
People have those experiences all the time and may not be comfortable or able or willing to recognize that that's what it is.
Right.
So I tell the story of, usually my first experience, or a lot of times several of my spirit guides have come to me in dreams, like specifically.
Yes.
I've had spirit totem dreams where animals have come to me specifically to bring a message. And then I've had, like with Nguvu, I had a specific dream about him. And then after having that dream, I woke up, and then literally in my mind, it was like a movie of every experience that he stood with me.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense.
Tracy, can you stay with us? We've got a commercial break right here, and then we're going to come back and talk about your marvelous book.
Great.
You're live with Lisa Phoenix and my special guest, author Tracy Dunblazer, here on OMTimes Radio. We'll be right back.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Have you bought into the idea that you have to work hard for your money, that business is hard? I will share some dynamic access consciousness tools to get you out of your own way so you can create a business that actually succeeds. Join me, Simone Millisers, on The Joy of Business at 4 p.m. Mondays Eastern.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Come heal yourself. What is healing? Healing is nothing but connecting to your all-knowing higher self that already has solutions to all your problems and is always there to guide you. Through this show, we help you to connect with that you are and help you realize the innate potential you have to heal every aspect of your life. So come heal yourself every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern, with your host, Monica Goyal. Namaste.
Feed your soul with waves of consciousness on OMTimes Radio.
Welcome back, everybody. You're live with Lisa Phoenix on OMTimes Radio. My special guest, author Tracy Dunblazer, author and so much more. Tracy, welcome back with us.
Thank you.
So, I'm sorry, you were in the middle of talking about the spirit guides, and the last thing you had said was that originally you had dreamed about them, but then he showed you everything that had happened in his life?
Well, so when I had the dream, I was probably, I don't know, probably in my mid-30s. Mm-hmm. And then he showed me from that actual like experience of fully integrating or being with his energy, he showed me all the other times that he had been present in my life.
Wonderful.
All the way down to, through my childhood. Mm-hmm. And so I think that, when it comes to spirit guides, they really are even sometimes more familiar than our parents or our family members or our friends. If they're a spiritual energy that we just don't oftentimes have. Sometimes we have obstacles within our culture. Our culture doesn't allow us to believe in this sort of thing, or if we do believe in it, we're crazy. Or, there's all kinds of reasons why people kind of discount their spiritual experiences, but yet they are the closest and most familiar, and may have very well been with us for eons.
Yes, I agree.
Anyway, so that was an element that I really wanted to be a part of this, because I wrote the book in three parts. The beginning parable. The second part is basically like a how-to, and I have the Slayer's Path, the Slayer's Motto, the Slayer's Pact, and the Slayer's Altar and Ritual, all to give the reader different things to think about and focus on while they're working through that particular stage of development. And then I also integrate it with a lot of anecdotes, including personal stories from my own personal history. And at the beginning, I didn't want to do that at all, and it took me a decade. Finally, Spirit said, "You know what? This is going to be about you, because that's what you have to offer."
Gotcha.
I have stories of thousands of people, but my stories are the most impactful, and will be told the strongest through me. So, anyway, but that's the thing that really pushed everything forward. And so the final section is, how I met this particular spirit guide, and then the thing that made me consciously aware of it, and then all of the different, reflections of it that I've had in terms of working with people or my friends and family. So I wanted this book to be laid out in such a fashion that at every point, a reader has the ability to stop and reflect on their own experiences, and hopefully reading mine will reflect back to them their own life experiences and what they've meant to them, and give them a way to organize it and process it.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I think that's a really important thing. And I just want to go, your second chapter is called Breathe Deep.
Yes. It's the story of La Negra Curandera. It's called the Truth Creates Freedom. And she is a woman who was a freed slave and from the islands, and then actually moved into America when slavery was still legal. And so it's a very interesting dichotomy. But it's her African spiritual heritage that really comes to play, because she is a psychic. She sees, hears, and feels and experiences spirit, and she's a healer. That is her mission, but she also feels things deeply. And so it is her journey through that process. Chapter 2 is really about when your abilities open up to a point at which you can't deny them any longer.
Gotcha.
Everybody's intuitive, but a lot of times people at a very early age learn how to go, I don't have these invisible friends. They're not real.
Yeah.
Our culture has kind of transitioned us out of accepting those things, and so her experience is, for everyone, but really for all the people who are going through the really profound psychic and spiritual openings and transformations that are beginning to happen for, hundreds of thousands of people on the planet right now.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so it really talks about, what you do, how you handle that, how you handle seeing the truth of things. When you see the truth of things, it puts you in a very different position in how you are able to conduct yourself in your life. And it's what I believe in the Bible, Eve taking a bite of the apple. At some point, everybody's going to take a bite of the apple and have to see what the truth is. And then it's how you handle that, how you relate to that, how you step into that sense of co-creation and responsibility. So we get to see that through the curandera in chapter 2.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now, can you take us to chapter 3?
Yeah. Chapter 3, it's a wonderful story about a spirit guide named the Raven. He is a Native American that lived in northern New Mexico, southern Utah.
Okay.
And his experiences in the 1800s and the Long Walk. It was a time when the colonials basically hijacked the Navajo people and made them walk 300 miles to relocate them unwillingly. They at gunpoint they were relocated, and thousands of people died, and it was a huge fiasco. So much so that the government shut down the program a couple of years later, and it's a part in history that a lot of people don't know about. But so basically chapter 3, that's the Raven story. But chapter 3 really talks about dealing with your heightened emotions, dealing with anger, dealing with fear, dealing with anxiety and grief, and how a specific protocol of how you handle really intense situations and emotions. And it really talks about the whole point of chapter 3. It's called Stay Focused. It's about, you have a choice in everything that you do, whether or not you feel like you have, whether or not you have that awareness. You do in fact have a choice about how you conduct yourself and the choices that you make, even when you're feeling enormous rage. You don't know that if you've never thought about it. So my goal was to get people to begin to think about it and to create their future and decide what is going to happen, what's not going to happen. We talk a lot about what we want to happen in life, but we will still live every day in fear that, we're going to get in a car accident or something bad's going to happen to us. Right. And so my goal and how I've conducted my life, having to have dealt with, excuse me, really intense energies my whole life, was to, that's not going to happen to me. It might happen in the world, but it's not going to happen to me. It's not an option.
Gotcha.
So it's not an option is the Slayer's motto for chapter 3.
It's not an option. That's
an option.
That's a great motto.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I think, can you explain to us maybe, I'd like to hear the process of, in a sense, did your guides helped you write this book, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So can you explain to everybody, because I'm sure a lot of people are interested in how that happened?
Well, so like I said, this book was in a process for a long time, and it finally really moved forward when I accepted that I had to be a part of the story and that it was my story, but yet it's not a memoir. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that there aren't many books that are like this, that are organized like this. Anyway, so each parable that I wrote, I really sat and thought, okay, well, who are my guides? I wrote them down. And then when I got down to writing the story of each of them, I sat and I called on them and said, okay, what do you want? What is the story that you want others to know about you? Tell me about your life. Tell me about how you lived and what it was like when you lived and how you experienced things. And so, I did it either from their own voice or from my voice telling about their life. And then throughout, like as I found that over the last several years, I've been writing a lot and collecting that writing and really talking about certain elements. Like there's a lot of in book 2, I deal with past lives, and so each parable is actually a past life that I in fact lived, and how that colored how I perceived this lifetime. So each one of those elements, it's still dealing with the spiritual element of myself. A lot of times people think of spirit guides as an aspect of ourself that we have developed. You know, even if somebody doesn't believe in that there are other energies in the world that guide us and that they truly have our best interest at heart, you know, it's the understanding that every guide that we have reflects a part of us that we have developed. It's one of the tools or gifts that we've been given to help us to deal with our everyday life and to work through those things that we maybe haven't developed as well.
Gotcha. Yeah. And just can you go ahead and share a little bit with us about, because I know you did have a little bit of a struggle with wanting to put yourself in the book.
Yeah.
So can you talk to us a little bit about that and tell us, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I always resisted it.
Why?
I think I resisted it because there's an enormous fear that comes when you are about to be revealed to other people as you are. And, you know, being in the helping industry, you know, I've really tried to, when I work with people, to be open with them about me and the experiences that I had that gave me the knowledge that I have.
Right.
Because I don't ever want people to think that we're not the same. You know, I may be in a teaching position, but we're the same. You know what I mean? We have the same experiences and the same power and knowledge and access to knowledge. So it's really valuable and important to me that people know that. But
wow,
but in truth, you know, that was a part of it I could control.
Gotcha.
You know, I could be specific and tell them the same story that I've told, 50 times, and it's okay. You know, so when it came down to being,
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got to cut you off here for a second.
Okay.
You're live with Lisa Phoenix, my special guest, Tracy Dunblaber on OMTimes Radio. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Live with medium Lisa Phoenix, Mediumship Messages and Musings, explores mediumship and all things metaphysical. Lisa Phoenix invites you to reach above and beyond your everyday experiences to explore new dimensions in the spirit world. She will do live readings to connect callers to their loved ones in spirit, shares engaging stories and teachings from her own personal experience, and will have intriguing conversations with other mediums, spiritual teachers, and healers to help you understand the metaphysical world so you can connect to these forces in your day-to-day life. Join your host on this magical and metaphysical journey into the world of spirit every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Hello, I'm Miriam Knight of New Consciousness Review, inviting you to my new show where I interview the rising stars of the conscious awakening. We'll explore the many faces of consciousness and action and intriguing perspectives on life, the universe, and everything in between. Join us each Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern on the Rising Stars Show.
bringing you the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids.
Welcome back, everybody. You're live with Lisa Phoenix and my special guest, Tracy Dunblazer. Tracy, you were saying, we cut you off right in the middle of a sentence there.
No, that's okay.
You were talking about your resistance.
Yeah, and I just the fear that comes with being revealed in a particular way, not in a particular way, in an absolute way, and. You know, when you tell people your stories, usually by the time you tell them, you've gone through the catharsis, and it's, you know, you reveal things. But for me, I was just in the radio break or the commercial break, I was just thinking about the very event that happened to me to make me at peace with sharing the story, because I've shared some stories that nobody knows.
Gotcha.
Oh my God!
So do tell. You've got us all intrigued now about this story.
I had a dream about 2 years ago, and in the dream, my counsel came to me and they said, "You know what? You've completed what you came here to do. You've finished. Congratulations. You can go now if you'd like." And I had basically I could die. If I was ready to leave the planet, I could do it because I had come and finished what I came here to do. And that was I woke up with the most amazing feeling of relief. And I was like, wow, you know, I actually could, if I died today, I wouldn't be sad about it. I could do that. And the more I thought about it, I thought, well, do you want that? Is that what you want to do? And I thought, well, you know, as lovely as that sounds, I don't know that that's what I want, but if I don't die, then what will I do if I stay? And I thought, well, you know, you've always talked about writing this book, this, you know, illusionary book that's been there. And I went, you know what? You're right. I guess if I stay, I got to write the book. And I guess I could do that. You know, this was the conversation that I was having with myself. And literally it was very shortly, maybe a couple months later, it was my birthday that year. And I went away on a retreat and I sat down and wrote down the very first very real story that nobody knows about. I was raped at the age of 18, and I had never written it out, and I had never told anyone some of the details of that experience, because it wasn't even just about the rape. It was everything that happened around it and what happened afterwards for me. And it was my reaction to it that really had more of my attention than the actual experience. And so I had never revealed that to anybody, you know? And so anyway, so that was the beginning of just saying, you know what, if I expect that other women or other men can transform and heal completely from being raped, I have to show them what that looks like. You know, I feel like I've done that, and I have to be honest about what the process was, and I have to let go of any shame that I have or fear that I have of actually revealing my deepest thoughts and experiences, and then the experiences of relationships that I've had. And, you know, I reveal everything in this book, as it pertains to the chapter, to each chapter in the subject. And then the second book, which is the Demon Slayer's Handbook, a practical guide to self-healing and unconditional love. That is really the journey of self-healing and the profound journey that I had of healing on karmic levels.
Gotcha.
But so it was after that dream of like being released of this planet, if I wanted, that I was like, okay, what else? What? Nothing else can happen.
Right. Now, are you finished with the second half?
I am.
You are. So when is
am.
that slated to come out?
I think that it's going to come out on November 1st.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, but they're both complete. You can see both titles on Amazon.com. If you put in the Demon Slayer's Handbook, you'll get both books. You can see the covers of both, and you can order book one. Yeah, it's very exciting. But that the being revealed part was the biggest part for me. Right, and that it kind of pushed you back a little because you had to
had to work with yourself on that.
Every day. Every
Right.
day, even today, right now, here as we speak, Lisa, I think to myself, "Oh my God,
Yeah.
okay, if they read book 1, that's going to be okay, but oh my God, book 2."
Right. And yes, and I really want to say that it's just not that whole journey of revealing oneself. It's not just about in a book. Do you know what I mean? For different people, I think everybody has to, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in, whatever respect, has to go through that journey of being willing to take that risk.
Absolutely. And to let go of the illusion of shame about it.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Whether it was, my choices or other people's choices or, happenstance or coincidence or karma, whatever you want to label it, we all have these experiences that we have to finally let go by allowing them to be revealed.
Exactly. And I just think that's a major thing, is that point where you come and you kind of face yourself on that element,
Right.
And I think it affects us not only on an emotional, spiritual, but I also think it affects us on a physical level too. When we, the more that we push that off, do you know, when it comes up for us, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that there are different stages of complete healing. And I think that the molecular and physiological and biological, our spirit, our body is made as a mimic to our spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And when you finally create, healing all the way down to your karma, which means that you have found forgiveness, which is you have found neutrality, you have found peace, not in what happened, but peace in the fact that it did happen and that you've let it go. And something happens different to the body. The body creates different chemical structures. It makes you think and feel different. People sometimes have, obstacles, with mental illness or chronic illness. They have these things that seem insurmountable. And everything at some point, and that's what I really try to talk about in book 2, because it really does deal with the concept of reincarnation, whether or not one believes that they in fact have lived before, or whether or not you just have the awareness that your spirit comes in with certain imprints that give you specific information about yourself. It doesn't matter how you want to break that down or tell you that it exists because of this,
Right.
Whatever it is, that in time and over time, we are eternal beings, and justice comes. No matter how you slice it, at some point, justice will come, for you and for others.
Right.
And, I wanted to show that because I feel for me, this lifetime is my justice for all of these specific lifetimes that I have lived.
Gotcha.
And so I wanted to leave people with, if not that knowledge, that belief or that possibility. I don't care where you're at. I believe that everybody needs to believe exactly what it is that they believe, because that is going to attract to them the information that they need. And it's not my position or anybody else's position to question that or judge them. But that it can be, I'm good with being ambiguous.
Right. Right. Totally get that. So now let's move on. Is it chapter 4 we're at?
Yes. Chapter 4 is the story of Star Bear, and it's called Be Present. And the fourth thing that you need to know to be a demon slayer is that demons can be very helpful until they're not anymore.
Okay.
I also give slayers weapons. I haven't really talked about the slayers weapons, but in every chapter, the slayers weapons for this chapter are stability, trust, leadership, and patience. It gives you an idea of in one of the chapters, one of the slayer's weapons is self-pity, we have these spiritual and energetic dynamics that maybe we may perceive them as positive, we may perceive them as negative, but however we perceive them, they support us in a particular form or force of knowledge. So Star Bear is, he was a Ute Indian. He was a part of the Ute Nation, and he was a unique, his way was unique because he lived at a time where there were many choices that he had to make that they may have been for the good of his people or the people around him, but they weren't good for all people. And I think that everybody will go through a life experience at some point that will leave them in a position to do, our goal is to do things for the good of all, but sometimes in some circumstances, you can't save everyone.
Right.
Right. Our firefighters and our soldiers and our, they're all warriors for today. And, they're educated at some point that, you can't save everyone. You save who you can save, but you can't save everyone. And sometimes you have to save yourself so that you can be available to save others at another point. But that's a profundity of the quagmire of being human. And so I really tried to talk about that in this chapter and talk about how one of the main focuses in the how-to is pride and the devil. And I move the subject from demons and other critters to the idea that the devil, which is basically all illusion, anything that hasn't yet come into the physical world is the world of illusion and can be influenced by other energies.
Yes, and hold that thought there.
Yep.
We, again, have to take a commercial break. You're live with Medium Lisa Phoenix and my special guest, Tracy Dunblazer. You're on OMTimes Radio. We'll be right back.
Free your mind with OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth Radio is conscious living for your soul, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. What if business could be fun? What if business is the adventure of living? What are you choosing? Where do you do business that makes it easier, more fun, or more joyful for you? We'd love to see where you do business. Connect with us on Instagram at Joy of Business or Twitter at Joy of Business. And share your pictures with hashtags BusinessDoneWhere and Joy of Business. Let's change the world with business.
If you remember living fearlessly, joyfully, and in a world filled with adventure, happiness, pleasure, and unbridled living, then this show is for you. Join me, Dame Nicole Brandon, as I bring you the world's top experts in wealth, creativity, flow, sea-edging technology, space, wellness, health, love, lust, and passion, all merging together each week here at the Hub of Happiness. Mondays at 6 p.m. Pacific Time and 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Passionate Living, where you can ride on the magic carpet ride of living and learn how to lead a passionately wild, exciting, and outrageously amazing life.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back, everybody. You're on the OMTimes Radio Network, live with Lisa Phoenix and my special guest, Tracy Dunblazer. Tracy, you were talking to us about the world of illusion.
Yes. Everything that is not in the physical world is our creative process. Our imagination. I call it illusion, delusion, and reality. Illusion is your creative imagination. It's when you begin to think of things or to manifest them on an idea level. And then delusion is when you begin to bring them more into your physical world and actually imagine what it would be like to have that certain thing or to create that certain thing or to be that certain person. And then reality is when your delusions put you in a position to take an action that brings that into the physical world. So any one of those places of creativity or vibrations of creativity can be influenced by yourself, by people that you know, by other energies, spiritual energies in the world. Your spirit guides can affect them, and demonic energies and ghosts can affect them, right? Because they have access because it's all in the spiritual realms. So one of the things that I talk about is be really clear about, do nothing until you know exactly what you're going to do. Be present in the moment. Don't think that you have to act on everything. Stay present. Look at what's going on. Ask yourself who or what is influencing it, and then make an educated, decision on what you want to do and what you know. Like the final level of that is taking your delusional reality and saying, you know what, is this logical? If I play the lotto, will I win $1 million? Right?
Well, we'd all like the answer to that question, Tracy.
Right, exactly. Exactly. So, but you have to answer yourself. Like if I'm going to take, if I have $1 and I can either play the lotto and maybe win more money, or I can take that $1 and give it to someone and get something to eat. You have to look at your past and your present to say, what are the chances? If I give this $1 and get something to eat, does that create a space for me to believe that I will always be fed?
Right.
It gets deep when you start to think about things on those levels, and our rational mind is valuable and important. It may not be the end all be all. Of course, we don't always want to be rational, and sometimes we need to take risks and believe in bigger things. But the people who take risks and believe in bigger things, it's because they have experience with being successful in those bigger things.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so you've got to go, what is your next step of expansion? And so that's what chapter 4 is about. And then that moves you into chapter 5, which the chapter is called Use It or Lose It.
Ooh, tell us about that.
And it's about, the fifth thing that you need to know to be a demon slayer is that demons use your desires against you. And this chapter is specifically about our relationship to ourself and our interpersonal relationships with others. It talks about our personality and how, sometimes if people have had traumatic experiences that have been unprocessed or ungrieved, that, it sometimes can split off the personality. And
right.
You can have many different aspects of your personality that kind of step in to rise to certain vibrational occasions, right? Certain things happen that are, maybe
yes.
angry, or maybe you have to protect yourself, or maybe you are hungry and actually need to feed yourself, or maybe you're in love and, want to express that love. Whatever you are rising to the occasion to do, sometimes we have an aspect of our personality that may not be integrated with the others. And so it really talks about that.
Yeah, and sometimes some of those aspects may not make the healthiest choices for us.
Exactly. So
yes.
That's what I break down in chapter 5 via Jane Overland, who Jane Overland is basically she's my writer, my author, the aspect of my personality that came to integrate all the others. And she too came to me in a dream. I tell that story, but it's very interesting.
Okay, and who is Jane?
Jane Overland as I see her, like I said, I call her the psychic investigator.
Okay.
And she is just open-hearted and compassionate and loving and communicative, but really wants to see things as they are and not be afraid of them.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Now, Tracy, let me ask, what is, okay, so your book drops tomorrow, right?
Yes.
And then what are you doing? Like, how are you traveling? Can people come see you? What?
Yes.
Okay.
I have right now, I have a couple of different events started. Saturday, September 12th, I'll be in Los Angeles at the Highland Cafe between 6 and 8. That'll be my official book launch party and book signing. You can come there and buy a book and I'll sign it for you and you can celebrate with us. In October, from October 2nd to October 13th, I'll be in Baton Rouge, Louisiana and New Orleans, Louisiana for 2 weeks. And there'll be several book signings. If you go to tracydunblazer.com to my calendar, you'll see every event that I'm starting to book a lot of different events coming up. So definitely check tracydunblazer.com at the calendar for those, because there'll be a lot of stuff coming up.
Gotcha. And so are you? And then are you doing any classes now or anything? Or
that remains to be organized.
Gotcha.
I would definitely like to do a book club for people reading the book, to have a discussion, to do like a Skype discussion, a group discussion, or a Google Chats. And I think that that's something I'd really like to do. And by all means, I would love for people to drop me a line. Go to Tracy Dunblazer Spiritual Empath on Facebook and like my page and tell me what you think of that idea and whether or not you'd be interested, because I really would like to put that together if there's a need for it.
Gotcha. Now, you're at the point now, because you said that, it is exciting and everything, but it's also a relief for you to have it finally done and stuff. Can you just tell us a little bit more? I mean, you've got to feel, because this has been such a journey for you and such a process. I mean, you have to feel empowered.
Oh, absolutely. No, absolutely. I mean, here's the thing. I think I created a publishing company inspired by this. It's called Go Tracy Publishing, and that was not the original plan.
Yeah,
I had always planned to still self-publish, but go with a publishing company as well. And anyway, that didn't happen. And the whole publishing thing, because I was in a situation to wear a completely new hat. I've just been on that non-celebration, all new information to me, and got to get the job done and get it done right kind of mode. So
gotcha.
When I say relief, that's really what I mean. Of course I'm empowered. This makes the fact that I've been talking about this for 15 years, it makes, okay, now it's not talk anymore. Here it is. Thank goodness. I worked with some amazing people. The guy who did my illustrations are phenomenal. His name is Michael Penn, and he was amazing to work with. He is a mind reader as well, and so we were really on the same page. With how I wanted my people to look, and how I wanted to be as accurate as possible to how they came to me and how they presented themselves to me. So he was really amazing in being able to facilitate that. So it's been an amazing process and pretty easy and pretty peaceful for a first time everything for me,
Yes. Oh, that's just wonderful. So, do you want to tell us again, tell everybody that we're getting close to the time here, but can you tell everybody, give them all the channels, how they can reach you and everything like that, and how they can purchase the book and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
Absolutely. You can go to tracydunblazer.com. That's www.tracydunblazer.com. And you can get to beaslayer.com. Both of those tell you about the book and tell you where it's available. You can walk into your neighborhood bookstore and order it. You can go to amazon.com right now and look up the Demon Slayer's Handbook. And there'll be 2 options or 3 options, but it's available on Kindle for pre-order, and you can purchase the paperback today. So I would love it if you did that, and I would love a review or your insights and opinions as you begin to read the book, because I'm really excited to share this with people.
Gotcha. And you also, again, you have Facebook pages as well.
Yes. Tracy Dunblazer, Spiritual Empath, and How to Build a Home Altar is another page that I have that as you read the book, there's a ritual and an altar that you can build or work with at the end of every chapter, give you some homework to do so that you can kind of put some of these ideas and thoughts into practice. And then you can share that on my Spiritual Empath page, or you can share it on my How to Build a Home Altar with pictures.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great. I didn't even know about the Home Altar Facebook page.
Yes, we're gonna get you on there today.
Well, Tracy, I want to thank you so much for being on the show this morning. And thanks for helping all of us. And you will be helping all of us as we get to read your new book starting tomorrow. We are so excited. Yay. And as I mentioned to all of you out in Radio Land, please, again, I'll repeat it, visit Tracy's website at www.tracydunblazer.com. I want to thank all you listeners out there for hanging out with us today, this morning, this afternoon, whatever time it may be for you. And I want to tell you that Live with Lisa Phoenix is on every Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific time, which makes it 1 p.m. Eastern time, which makes it 10 a.m. Pacific. Thank you so much for being with us.